Welcome to Dynamite Delight. I'm sorry if it's a little noisy. My neighbors are watching TV right now. But let me say this about this episode. It actually was pretty good. It actually was good. I gotta say that it still has the same issues with the... I gotta say this. When it comes to the commentary team, I really want to see JR move to a different position. I'd rather see him as general manager of the show than being on commentary. I want Taz on commentary so bad. It just didn't feel right with him there. Even with Shivani back, it didn't feel right. It just, the flow was not there. Excalibur is not a blow-by-blow color commentator. He's not. He just felt, He is JR. And he needs a Taz to work off of. And he doesn't have one there. He only got Shivani and he's got, I really want to see Taz there. And I want to see JR as manager. I think he would be interesting as a manager for AEW. As the general manager. That's what I think would be wise. Now, the opening show was a tag match. And that's Kenny Omega with Hangman Page versus Private Party. Now, I'm going to make this really clear. I don't hate Quinn and I don't hate Cassidy. I believe his name is Cassidy. I don't hate them. But I do believe they just do not look polished. And I'm not taking anything away from them. They're very good in the ring. I just don't feel like they look legitimate because their ring attire just doesn't feel legitimate. They need to change this ring attire. That's the same ring attire they had in House of Glory. About to say Ring of Honor. House of Glory. And at House of Glory, that's cool. That's House of Glory look. They needed to change up the look for AEW and they did not. And it just feels like it's lacking. They can still do the party gimmick. But it needs to be up class. It needs to be something more. And I just don't see it. The match was good. In the end, Kenny Omega and... Look. The thing that gets me is how far they're going to go with Pac versus Kenny Omega. I still state that the person he should be having this grudge against, I'm talking about Pac, should be Hangman Page. Makes no sense. He doesn't make any sense. What is he doing? He's not going to join Dark Order. He's not being with the Elite. He's by himself. And he's winning matches with somebody, but it does not mean much. It just doesn't. He needs something more. It's just me. Seeing Kenny Omega's friend get choked out, fine. But I still believe that it should be Pac versus Hangman Page and Pac going through the entire roster, beating everyone until he comes back to Kenny Omega, and then he goes after Dark Order. That makes the best sense. This isn't about him joining Dark Order. I'm talking about Pac. It's about him destroying everybody. Next, we have the women's... What was that? What was that? What was that? Rio versus Stanlander. The alien versus the little girl. And I'm not being mean to Rio. Look, I'm being honest here. I have no problem with Rio. But they didn't book her correctly. She was not booked right. She shouldn't be the first champion. It should have been either Nia Rose. It should have been Awesome Kong. That's the truth. That's straight. Nia Rose, who's still green in the business, or Awesome Kong, who is very established in the business. It should have been one of them. End of discussion. And having Rio there, no matter if she's got 13 years of experience, is completely unknown in America. You had a better option with someone who is either European, Mexican, or American, or Canadian for that matter. And you didn't get neither of those. You put a good but unknown Japanese wrestler who is so damn small that she could actually take on Marco Stunt in a real match. And I wouldn't know who would win. In this entire situation, you got Mandy Rose at commentary, where I think that might be her best calling. Let her call the women's matches for a while. Because just Nightmare Collective, really, I'm not saying it couldn't get over, but I don't know where it's going. So you had Awesome Kong and this other woman, I can't remember who she is, come out during the match, mess with Stanlander. Stanlander loses the match. And instead of doing something interesting with Rio and trying to make her mean something on the main show of Dynamite, maybe turning her heel for that matter. And I know a lot of people won't like it, but you know what? As it stands, Rio needs to be something different for the general wrestling public, not the casuals who really understands this. Sorry for the crying. But honestly, she needs something more, and she's got nothing. Fighting against the other woman as well as Awesome Kong was a joke. Going against Stanlander was a joke. It just didn't feel legitimate while she was wrestling. She needs help. It just feels like that to me. She doesn't feel credible enough. That's why she needs a faction. That's why she needs to turn heel. And that's why it will make it better for her. She needs to be Americanized. Let's be honest here, guys. And even with Sheeta coming out. And it was Britt Baker did not help. It was Sheeta who helped because that was her friend. You wonder where Britt Baker's going. Is she going to join the collective or not? We'll find out. We have... Let's put it like this. Chris McDaniels, I always believed, was a very good wrestler. I always liked him in Impact Wrestling as TNA. Guevara was a good compliment for him. And the guy is about my age, or maybe a little bit older. He's in his late 40s, nearing 50. And the key of this situation is clear 100% ring general. Sorry guys, the neighbor's kids are crying. I just feel like this was a good match of an established high-flying wrestler versus a up-and-coming high-flying wrestler. While the established one is still physically capable of doing decent to good work in the ring, where he could guide the match, which he did. In the end, Guevara won it. He did. But I gotta say this. You wonder, wait a minute, if it was anything else, it was Pentagon Jr. who comes out. And he's been messing with Chris McDaniels, saying you're over the hill. And Chris messed up the match due to the fact that he tried to do the best moonsault ever. And he didn't get a chance. And basically, he lost that match. Because of Pentagon Jr. messing with his head. Seeing Dark Order and Evil Uno, and I remembered his name this time, Evil Uno coming out saying that you're the one who motivated me so many years ago, you wonder where they're going to go with Dark Order. You wonder where they're going to go with Chris McDaniels. Will Chris McDaniels, the one-winged angel, will he turn to the dark side? I think that would be a very compelling situation there. Would he turn to the dark side? But I don't believe he needs to wear the mask. He can turn into a dark angel, which would be interesting for SCU. But not now. I believe they're rushing this a little bit with him. Yeah, they show him a little bit, but they could have let this linger for several weeks to a month or two. Evil Uno coming back to him saying, you see, people don't trust you. They don't believe in you. They think you're over the hill. Why don't you follow me? Become the dark angel that I know you can be. A couple of months of build for Chris McDaniels would help Dark Order and would help Chris. And then you could do the payoff of him turning away from it, sticking with SCU, or maybe sticking with them and then turning. That's just how I feel. The Legends of Memphis were talked about. Seeing Leapin' Lanny Popo. Oh my goodness, the genius. Oh, the Genius. I miss the Genius so much. If you don't know who the Genius is, he's Leaping Lanny Popo, Randy Savage's actual brother. And it was wonderful to see him. I wish he would come back as a manager. I don't care if he goes to Impact. I don't care if he's in AEW. Hell, go to NWA Power. Go to NWA, work with Billy Corgan. That's what I'd like to see. That's what I'm hoping would happen, because he just sounds so... His presence is just there. I just love it. But they got honored at least a little bit here. And supposedly AEW Dark is supposed to be elaborating a little bit more. Now, I wish they would show scenes. And I'm making this clear. I'm trying to rush this because I know if you can hear the noises in the background, I'm trying to make this limited as possible. I wish they would mention AEW Dark more and show scenes of it. I'm saying this to anyone who knows AEW. Look, turn Dark into a secondary promotion. Put the women on there. Let them have their own promotion. Sponsor it. Get another title for the men. Put it there. Sponsor it. And then when they get over there, put them on Dynamite. Make them mean something. I believe it will work. Free advertisement. You don't have to worry about TNT or anything. It's all under your control. MJF segment. Now, I know I'm jumping around because I haven't talked about Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix versus the Brothers Grimm, which is Cody and Dustin. But I want to say this. Seeing Diamond Dallas Page come out, seeing that he's pretty much plugging himself, that was a lot of plugging, which I'm fine with, but it was a lot of plugging, baby. In the end, knowing that he may come back to wrestle, and he looks good enough to do it, I am intrigued. Seeing MJF making it very clear, this is not about you, this is me. Where is, he didn't say Cody, but where is Cody? Before that, he says, where is Cody? I'm kind of distracted, trying to focus while worrying that it's going to get louder. Sorry, guys. But seeing it like this, seeing he called for Cody because he did make the stipulations before the show of Revolution, you wonder what's going to happen. Diamond Dallas Page comes out, and this entire segment was good until the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny comes out, which, look guys, those three were nailed, ended by Cody, which I don't care. If they hadn't been beaten by Cody, I would have been fine with it. There would have been no problem. They would have been a nice faction. But because they've already been beaten, I don't care about them. They get in the ring. Page wipes them out. Diamond Dallas does the diamond cutter on them, nails them, but then gets killed by Warlow. Then everyone comes out to protect him. I just think, one, the Butcher, the Bunny, and the Blade should never have been brought out. Two, Cody should have came out, and then Diamond Dallas Page kept him back, and then you could have done something with that. That's what I think could have happened. Now, the match between the Brothers Grimm of Cody and Dustin versus the Lucha Bros was an okay match. Wasn't incredibly great. But I don't know where they're going with Cody and Dustin. Are they going into the tag division? It would make sense if they do. But seeing the Lucha Brothers lose when they're in the title picture, in a sense, I don't know if that was the wisest thing to do for them to lose. Because if I remember correctly, they did get beat. So I just don't know. Now, the most best match of the night, you had Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus the Jurassic Express. Now, here's the thing. You got Luchasaurus there, who is the star of the show. If you guys don't think Luchasaurus is the star of the show, he was the star of the show. But the problem was he was not the center of it. The person that looked the best there was Jungle Boy. He looked really good, but he wasn't meant to be the star of the show. The problem was that the star of the show was Marco Stunt. Look, I'm not against Marco Stunt once in a while going into the ring and wrestling. He's not 100% a bad wrestler. But being that it was in Memphis, being that he's from there, this was all about Marco Stunt. And I felt that was not the wisest thing to do. You could have had him outside the ring. He could have still did what he needed to do. But having a 6-man tag with Marco Stunt there, I felt took away from the Luchasaurus, who should have been in that ring more and showed how great he was, as well as Orange Cassidy was interesting. He was. But when it comes down to it, they're both gimmick guys. Orange Cassidy as well as Marco Stunt, they're gimmick guys. They have their own gimmick. It's not that they can't wrestle, they're gimmick guys. And you got best friends who should have been going up against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And it wasn't like that. In the end, Jurassic Express wins. But it didn't feel really important. It was more about Marco Stunt getting over in his own town. Instead of like putting over Jungle Boy more. Putting over particularly Luchasaurus, who is the most interesting person there. I'm just saying. And finally, if I'm forgetting anything, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. No, I don't think I'm forgetting. If I'm forgetting something, I'm sorry, guys. The ending we wanted and expected, it wasn't, but it was. Alright, I think it was obvious, but it was done well. Maybe I'll use that. Obvious, but good. Maybe that might work. I don't know. I don't know the name of this video yet. But you got Moxley giving in to Chris Jericho. He says, look, you guys don't know me. Chris don't know me. But you know what? I'm in. Now, at first I thought he was going to turn, which I was right eventually. I knew from the very beginning he was going to turn. It was obvious. But I was kind of hoping he wouldn't turn. At least not immediately. I would have liked to see him stay near Chris. Be with Chris's crew. And then build up into a turn. I think it would have been more interesting that way. For me personally. Seeing that he was drinking the bubbly. That he was all in to working with Chris. And Chris was pretty much trying to milk it for everything was worth. Messing with the crowd and everything. Fine. With your Guevara there and with Hager there, it was fine. But at the end, it was like a snake is still a snake. And he says, look, I got something to tell you, Chris. I'm pretty much not going to do it. Your group is stupid. It sucks. And hits him in the head with a bottle. Whacks Hager. Whacks Guevara. Grabs the keys. Well, because the 4GT, he was given the keys to it. But he grabbed them after it was all over, dangling them in the crowd. Pretty much a $750,000 car is now his. And that's how they ended the show. Now, I'm sure many people are going to be fine with the ending. But I'm going to be honest here. For me personally, I think he shouldn't have turned so quickly. I think he should have milked it for all it's worth. And then turned. And not turned face. You got him being almost a betweener. And I think as a betweener, he would fit pretty well. There is no betweener in the show. Not on Dynamite. So I think as a betweener, I think it would actually work. That he's no face. He's no good guy. But he's going to mess over the bad guys whenever the hell he wants. And he's still going to mess with the faces. And he's still going to basically beat the crap out of everybody. He's for himself. He don't care who he screws. Good guys, bad guys, it don't matter. He's going to screw whoever's going to screw over. And I think that would have been the best thing. He stayed with them for a little while, get everything he wanted. He gets money, he gets another car, he gets whatever he wants. And then he turns, keeps all that stuff, rubs it into Inner Circle's face, and rubs it into the face of the faces. And they say, why are you doing this? Be with us, like the Elite. And he said, please, you want to pay me some money? All right, but I'm going to mess you over the same way. That's what I think it should be with Jon Moxley. But this is just the ending was okay. He having the keys for the 4GT was fine. But I gotta admit, I actually got kind of pissed. That's the reason why I botch a little bit. When I get pissed off and frustrated, I botch. But this is just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. And look for my NWA Power Review. It should be coming out tomorrow evening. I gotta go to the doctor in the morning. Peace.